Hey everyone, welcome to Coffee with Eddie. Let's go inside and see who's waiting for us. Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Eddie. It's Eddie Campos with RE/MAX Preferred Associates and the Campos Real Estate Group. And again, our guest today is Tori Kroll with Louisville Title. And Tori, today I wanted to talk to you about settlement statements and closing disclosures. There's a lot of print on these. What is the difference and what am I looking at? What am I actually getting out of these documents?
Absolutely. So if you are a buyer or a seller, but if you're a buyer and getting a loan, you will receive, first of all, a closing disclosure from your lender. This is a document that is solely prepared by the lender and not prepared by the title company.
So the lender will be sending it to you?
Absolutely. They will never receive as a buyer the closing disclosure from the title company. As a title company, we have to prepare what's called then a settlement statement to actually disperse your transaction. We cannot create this document without all the numbers from this document. So until we receive this from the lender, we physically cannot create this, or we can create parts of it, but we can't completely finalize it and put the stamp on to send it out. So as a buyer or a seller, you hopefully will be receiving an individual settlement statement, and you can tell by looking in the upper right-hand corner if it says borrower or seller. The seller will receive a closing disclosure from the title company. That is something that the title company only provides the closing disclosure, for the seller only. So they will receive that as a seller from the title company.
So when the title company gets the closing disclosure, they assemble all the numbers onto the settlement statement.
Yes.
So from one to the other. And that settlement statement basically is like a bill of sale.
Absolutely.
For the entire transaction. For the seller, it probably has commissions, right?
Yes.
And then closing costs for both sides, the borrower and the seller.
We prepare a split settlement statement to promote privacy. It's a very emotional time buying a home. And so just to provide privacy, we split the settlement statement so the buyer will only see the numbers and figures that are associated with them, as will the seller only see their side of the transaction. And as a buyer or seller, you really should look at this at the table to make sure that names are spelled correctly, that you're actually buying or selling the right property, and that your bottom line does match the numbers that came to you on your closing disclosure from your lender.
Sure. So if your lender quoted you an interest rate of 3 7/8%, it should be reflected on here. If it's not reflected on here, everything should stop until that gets corrected.
The interest rate would be reflected in the mortgage documents that are gone through at the table. The actual interest rate may not be reflected on the actual settlement statement, but the lender would be reflected, and your address and your loan amount, any credits that a buyer would be receiving. So those are all things that you should double check. I know you have a realtor and an attorney perhaps, but really as a informed buyer or seller, you should be really looking at those settlement statements yourself.
Sure. So hopefully your takeaway from today is that you're going to get a closing disclosure from your lender, a settlement statement from the title provider, and you're going to want to review those things with your realtor and hopefully your attorney to make sure that all those documents are accurate. If the commissions are correct, if the tax prorations are correct, if your closing costs are correct, that is going to be your final bill of sale. That's when everything is going to come to a close and you're going to get into your new home, and you don't want any issues to pop up regarding any issues that may occur on the title. So if you have any further questions, please reach out to me. It's Eddie Campos with RE/MAX Preferred Associates and the Campos Real Estate Group. This has been episode 7.